Naked racism. Does Bill Clinton have anything to do with the naked racism at the White House, or did he? Takes a lot of stones for any Democrat running for president or otherwise to bring up Jim Crow. Who was promoting Jim Crow, de facto de jure segregation for all those many decades in the late 18th and into at least half and more of the 20th century? It was not the grand old party, that's for sure. This is a story. I don't know how much I want to. Taylor printed this out for me. I'm not sure how much of this story I want to read.
I don't know how much of it you can read on the air.
The headline, this is the New York Times. They just posted this story. Jeffrey Epstein hoped to cede. Right there, I'm starting to get a little queasy about the story. Jeffrey Epstein hoped to seed human race with his DNA. I thought he was into massages. It's kind of hard to seed the human race when you're getting massages from underage women.
He was a sexual evil genius, is basically what this article boils down to.
Dr. Evil. Jeffrey Epstein, the wealthy financier and accused sex trafficker, had an unusual dream, He hoped to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his vast New Mexico ranch. That's one of the better leads I've ever read in the New York Times, though. It's pithy, not overwritten, not too many dependent clauses. Mr. Epstein, over the years, confided to scientists and others about his scheme. His scheme? Isn't that editorial comment? I don't know that Mr. Bernstein would approve of that. According to 4 people familiar with his thinking, although there is no evidence that it ever came to fruition. I think that'll do it for that. The story that Dershowitz was worried about has been posted by the New Yorker, by the way, and it's dense, and it's murky about who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth. But it certainly doesn't make Dershowitz look very good. But they can't really prove that he assaulted this young woman or any young women. But it doesn't make him look good. But the fact is, it's the same thing with Alex Acosta. If Dershowitz hadn't gone to bat for Donald Trump over the last couple of years, this story never would have appeared. Just like if Alex Acosta had been the former U.S. attorney serving in the Hillary Clinton cabinet as opposed to the Donald Trump cabinet, they never would have resurrected the Epstein matter, the criminal case, the charges that he pleaded guilty to in Miami back in 2008. Anyway, now it's time for the Chump Line.
I wrote that damn bill. Now get off my damn lawn.
How about this? I wrote the damn bill, and now all of you deplorables are going to have to pay for the damn bill. Why didn't Delaney or Ryan or one of those guys just say to Bernie, if this was such a great idea, how come they tried to do a trial run in your little home state of Vermont, and they decided it was going to totally destroy the state's economy? And then how come they tried the same thing in California, across the country, the biggest state as opposed to almost the smallest state, and they ran into the same problem? So if both California and Vermont couldn't pull this off, what makes you think the United States of America can?
Hey, Howie, I've got a new drinking game for tonight's debate. Every time Biden ogles Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, wait, you can't drink that much.
I think Biden is going to be wearing blinders. They may be invisible, but he's not going to be able to look over at Tulsi. And I don't think they're allowed to move away from the podiums anyway. I mean, many of the rest of us would just settle for basic lookism, as it's called in the woke community. But Biden has to actually go over and touch somebody, touch a woman. He has to reach out and touch someone, their hair especially. The Chump Line is brought to you today by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, officially celebrating the 200th anniversary of our vote to separate from Massachusetts. Partly because we were tired of being ignored by our state government, but mostly because the people there had a funny accent.
President Trump is wrong, man. Rachel Maddow is the dumbest man on television.
Ooh. Hey now. I'm going to report somebody to the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. That was a hate crime that got through.
So Prince Harry says he's only going to have 2 children with his wife, Meghan Markle, in order to save the planet. The royal family couldn't save the British Empire, and they're going to save the planet?
Prince Harry, all you have to do is send 1 billion euros or pounds or whatever to Honest Howie's carbon credits, and I'll take care of it, and you can have a 3rd, maybe even a 4th child. Incidentally, what will they do if Meghan Markle gives birth to triplets? What are they going to do then? Are they going to leave one of them on the roof of the car when they go out for a drive?
Hey, Taylor, it's nice to know that you preferred Cardi B's older stuff like Anaconda, considering that wasn't hers. God, what a dope. You're learning it from the old man now?
That's actually not true. Anaconda was her song. It was a ripoff of Sir Mix-a-Lot's I Like Big Butts, that one. Right, Grace?
I think it was Nicki Minaj.
Oh, that was Nicki Minaj. See, I don't know this stuff.
How about Anna C. Bilge? Did she have anything to do with any of this crap?
Who?
Bilge. Isn't that her name, Bilge?
Blige? Mary J. Blige?
Mary J. Bilge.
I guess I do get it from you.
Hey, speaker to Leo, how many fortune cookies did you get for $5,000 worth of Chinese food?
Whatever happened to bring your own lunch? This is at the State House. We got a copy of this secret credit card they have for the legislature. One night a couple of months ago, they ordered out almost $5,000 worth of Chinese food from a Chinese restaurant in Winthrop. Would you care to guess the hometown of the Speaker of the Massachusetts House of Representatives? You only get one guess.
Hey, Howie, speaking of rats, you can't say Democrats without saying rats.
You can't. And if you're wondering about my T-shirt, Dirty Rats. This is our new T-shirt promoting our new podcast, which starts on August the 29th. It's about the Bulgers and basically a half century of crime and corruption in the city of Boston. And again, you can go right now to HowieCarrShow.com, and it's at that's a banner at the top of the homepage, and you can listen to a 5-minute tease, or you can just go to DirtyRatsPodcast.com. DirtyRatsPodcast.com. Listen to the tease, and you'll get an idea of what we're going to be trying to do. There'll be when we launch on August 29th, we'll have 3 episodes available for you to binge on. And if you want to get one of these T-shirts, come to our remote on Friday at Cape Gunworks in Hyannis, Mass. The first 30 people through the door will get free T-shirts, and everybody who comes through the door will get a copy of Rifleman, my book about Stevie the Rifleman Fleming.
Howie, I would be more than happy to pay reparations, but I have a sneaking suspicion that will be called racist long after the checks have been cashed.
I would say that is a solid bet. If you've got a hunch, bet a bunch.
I'm so confused. I don't know if the Russians made me vote for Trump, or I did it because I'm a racist, or I'm just an American patriot. Please help me.
If you voted for Donald Trump and plan on voting for him in 2020 just because the economy is looking up, you're making more money than ever before, your 401k is healthier than it ever has been, and your house is worth more than it ever has been, you must be a racist.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That is wrong. They should have the same opportunity as me and not earn a paycheck until they are 50.
I only have one quibble with that. I don't think he's earning a paycheck even now at the age of 80. He's just collecting a paycheck.
Hey, Grace, easy with those microaggressions, especially about pulling the sheets over our head. My God, they'll start calling you Daisy Duke.
Daisy Duke. When was the last time you saw an episode of the Dukes of Hazzard on TV? Not since Charlottesville or maybe even Dylan Roof days. The stars and bars on the top of that car doomed that show.
You remember my drinking game last night was to take a shot every time Elizabeth Warren said so. So I ran out of shivers.
Can I get me a Nep bottle here?
Hey, Howie, if Williamson is such a psychic, how come she doesn't know all the Democrats are going to lose in 2020? She can't be that good.
I don't know, though. You know, she said there was a dark day coming, and we got some microbursts here. It was very dark in the Boston area about an hour ago. Microburst grounds flights at Logan Airport. That's the weather report for this afternoon. Very dark.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr. You chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, 844-500-4242. That's 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this hour each weekday. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. 500-4242, and after the next break, we'll have a taped interview that we did earlier in the show with Eric Trump, the president's son. If you haven't heard, the president is coming to Manchester, New Hampshire on August 15th. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. And I would assume he's going to be the same arena he was at on election eve in 2016. We were there. It was a packed house. And after he left Manchester, it was probably 10:30. He produced a letter from Bill Belichick, basically endorsing him. And then he flew to Grand Rapids, Michigan. And, you know, people said later, oh, he didn't really expect to win. I don't think he would have been in Manchester, New Hampshire on election eve and then flown to Grand Rapids, Michigan for a rally on what amounted to Election Day, November 8th. And then he flew back to New York, and he called into this show at 6:30 on election night to, again, promote his chances in New Hampshire. The election was stolen from him, basically, I think, and also from Kelly Ayotte, who was ousted by Maggie Hassan, who had another aide plead guilty in the doxing attack on Republican senators in last year. Yesterday, who's going to get 18 months suspended sentence. Anyway, time now for the poll question. Guys, when it comes to erectile dysfunction, quit rubbing some dirt on it and check out Roman. With Roman, you can get medical care for erectile dysfunction, if appropriate, from the comfort and privacy of your own home. You can also get delivery at the comfort and privacy of your own home. No uncomfortable visits to the doctor's office or the pharmacy. For a free online visit and free 2-day shipping, visit GetRoman.com/Howie. That's GetRoman.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
President Trump called Don Lemon the dumbest man on television. Do you agree?
It is impossible to make such a direct statement as that. No, I don't agree. It could be any one of a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen people.
13% think there are dumber out there.
Or they as dumb. Maybe not dumber, but as dumb. It's hard. Again, it's hard to single one person out in a sea of ignorance and stupidity. It is a vast wasteland on TV.
How do you even define dumb?
Right.
That's again, personal discretion.
Right. Newton Minow, former FCC commissioner, described television as a vast wasteland when there were only 3 channels. Now there's An infinite number. So there's an infinite number of morons out there. Present company excluded, of course. Got time for a call? Nope, we haven't got time for a call. When we come back, we're going to have the taped interview. It's about 10 minutes long of Eric Trump, and then we'll take a lot of calls. I know a lot of people have been hanging on all afternoon. We haven't taken a lot of calls. We'll get to all of your calls. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr. 844-500-4242. Eric Trump is making the rounds this week of the media, and he was with us about a little under 2 hours ago, and so we wanted to replay it for the Newsmax audience and people who were just getting out of work. And so this is me with Eric Trump at 3:50 Eastern Time. It runs about 10 minutes. All right. Joining us now on the line is Eric Trump, the president's son. Eric, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Howie, it's great to be back on.
Listen, what did you make? Did you watch the debate last night?
I did, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I have to. Given my new role, I have to watch it. But what did I think about it? What's your take? What's your first takeaway from the debate? I thought it was painful to watch. To tell you
it was.
And, it's really painful to watch. You watch a bunch of rehearsed politicians up there. The first guy, and I tweeted this out, the first guy who got up there, he was looking up at the stars and giving some, romantic speech that didn't mean anything. It was just words. It had no substance. You could tell the guy had rehearsed it in the bathroom mirror 400 times. There's no authenticity to it. And honestly, you look at you look at some of the people up on stage, and it was crazy fest. Here you had Bernie saying, let's eliminate 160 million people off of private health insurance. Maybe the only part of the healthcare system that works really nicely. People like their private health insurance, and let's just eliminate that. Let's hand it to some bureaucrat in Washington. Then you have somebody else, staring at the stars, rehearsing something that they had rehearsed 400 times before. Again, that meant absolutely nothing.
Dark psychic forces. Did you get the vibe of the dark psychic force, Eric?
I got that, and then you had Elizabeth Warren talking about environmental racism. I'm not really sure if I've ever heard of what environmental racism was before, and it's just incredible. These people want to raise people's taxes. They want to provide 30 million people who are in this country illegally health insurance. They don't want to do anything about the problems that we have in this country, whether it be inner cities that need a lot of help, Baltimore, which my father's cast a great light on. They don't want to help any other million causes. How about homeless that we have in this country? In California, you see what's happening. No, let's not help them. But let's give private health and let's give health insurance to 30 million illegal immigrants who broke the law coming. It's really crazy, Howie.
Eric Trump, do you ever wake up in the morning and look at your father's tweets and say, gee, Dad, maybe I wish you hadn't gone quite that far?
Honestly, no, because you know what? Listen, does everybody have faults once in a while? Sure. You can't take the fighter out of the fighter, and America was missing a fighter for a very long time, and America has a fighter, and there's certain things that you can't turn off, and my father's pretty equal opportunity. He calls people out on both sides of the aisle. Hey, he did it with Republicans this week, and he's willing to. But you know what? What those fights normally do is they also normally provoke a really good conversation. The best thing that ever happened to Baltimore was the fact that he called out Baltimore. You have people in Baltimore right now saying, "Thank you so much for calling out the problems," because I have, I don't have a voice, and no one listens. I don't have a voice, and you see what's happened to our city. I
don't know if you've heard this. I want to just get your take on this. This is Elijah. They went after your father for saying infested, and that's what he said about New Hampshire with opioids. That's not a racial dog whistle. But this is Elijah Cummings in 1999, 20 years ago. Cut 25.
Heroin addicts are in the state of Maryland, and 71% of them live in Baltimore City. And keep in mind, Baltimore only has a population of 674,000.
Here's cut 20. Here's the one I want.
This morning, I left my community of Baltimore, a drug-infested area.
Is Elijah Cummings a racist?
Well, he must be under his scenario. He must be. It's terrible. I mean, here's the problem. They have no platform, Howie. They don't. The Democratic Party doesn't stand for anything. You know, what does my father stand for? Right? He stands for having the strongest economy in the world, not getting ripped off by Mexico, not getting ripped off by China, having the greatest military that we hopefully never ever have to use, so we can always be a safe country, having strong borders, having great law enforcement, protecting our law enforcement, getting gang members out of this country, MS-13, having great education, having great health care, and so much more. Very pro-business, and he's a great cheerleader for patriotic America, right? So, and much more, but that's generally what my father stands for. What did the Democrats stand for? The elimination of plastic straws, spending $91 trillion on the Green New Deal, which would bankrupt our country day one, raising people's taxes, criticizing law enforcement, calling ICE officers, quote-unquote, Nazis, which the squad called them last week.
Don't forget getting rid of commercial airliners and hamburgers.
Giving, of course, you have to get rid of the cows, according to to them. Giving illegal immigrants, 30 million illegal immigrants, free health care in this system. I mean, this is what they stand for, and I don't think it's going to work.
Eric Trump, I hope to see you next month in New Hampshire. I hope you're coming up with your father to Manchester. Thank you, Eric Trump. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you very much, Howie. Thanks for being there also. And by the way, the fake news never mentioned the fact that Bernie Sanders is in a video saying, quote, the failed city of Baltimore is like something in a third world country.
Right. Yeah, we played that yesterday.
Yeah. The Democrat socialists care more about illegal aliens and getting their votes than our own fellow Americans suffering and stuck in failed Democratic-controlled cities like Baltimore and Chicago, infested with drugs, crime, gangs, and like your shirt says, dirty rats.
Dirty rats. That's what my shirt says. Thanks for the call, Mark. You want to look at one of the funniest local TV news shots of the week, if not the whole month of July. Fox 45 in Baltimore, they were doing a man in the street interview views in West Baltimore to get people's reactions. So they went to the tape. They did the live shot with the female reporter. Then they go to the taped package with all the interviews with the local residents. And then as they were coming back, the cameraman, she was in front of a vacant lot, and the cameraman spotted. You saw this, Taylor, right? This was hilarious. So the cameraman,
you can't plan for this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what live TV is all about. This is what makes it great about 1 in 1,000 times. So he sees a rat coming out of a pile of garbage right behind the reporter. So he swings the camera off. So when they go back to the live shot, you don't see the reporter's face. You see this rat, a big rat, scurrying down along a fence. And then the rat runs along and goes into the next yard. And then he swings the camera back to the reporter who's doing her wrap-up stand-up. I mean,
the fact of the matter is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country.
Jen, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jen.
Great T-shirt, Howie.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, why is it that they made such a big deal about that protester at Trump's speech yesterday in Virginia, but not one media outlet, no one, said anything about the lieutenant governor of Virginia sitting on deck right above Trump in the right-hand corner, the alleged rapist?
Right. Yeah,
nobody said a word about it, but they make this big deal about racism and Me Too and everything else. But you've got a dirty rat sitting right above him.
Right, and Jen, and you mentioned that they were talking about Jim Crow in the debate last night in Detroit. They'll probably be talking about Jim Crow and segregation and the dogs in Selma, Alabama, et cetera, tonight again. But nobody mentions that the governor of Virginia appeared in either blackface or a Ku Klux Klan outfit, and the Attorney General of Virginia also appeared in blackface, and they haven't been forced to resign. Nobody seems to be outraged about that, do they, Jen?
No, and And it's ridiculous. As a victim of assault myself, I was horrified that man would sit there.
Yeah.
But yet everybody else boycotted. Why didn't he boycott?
Yeah, I know they want to run Trump out of the White House because he was making a joke on a bus back around 2003 or 2004. But this lieutenant governor of Virginia, credibly accused by two women of rape in two different states, North Carolina and Massachusetts, and nothing to see here, folks. Move along. Good point, Jen. Arthur, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Arthur.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Howie. You know something? I'll tell you about Bernard. He got away with something last night. He said that Medicaid would save a lot of money because doctors wouldn't have to fill out forms anymore. I never heard such a bunch of crock in my life. That's why I dumped Medicare, because all I was doing was getting mail every single day of the way, pie A, B, C, D. I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, so I went and got my own plan. And you know something? First of all, doctors are dumping Medicare like there's no tomorrow. It only pays for 80%. And when he says, when Eric was right, it's going to take away Medicare from 180,000 people. How about the 350 million people that work in these hospitals?
Yeah, and the thing is, the only reason they can get away with paying those low Medicare rates of, like you said, 80% of the standard rates that they impose on everybody else is because they can impose higher rates on the people with private insurances. Yet Kamala Harris and the fake Indian and Bernie Sanders all want to do away with private insurance. So if they do away with private insurance, how are they going to subsidize Medicare? There's going to be even fewer. There's going to be even all these hospitals are going to start closing. And you're right. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are going to lose their jobs. I mean, this thing is a disaster. And then John Delaney, the former congressman from Maryland, has the audacity to say, I've done the math. And they treat him like he's a pariah, like he's Typhoid Mary of the Democrat Party, which, come to think of it, he is in this current environment. Thanks for the call, Arthur. Matt, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Matt.
Howie, we need all of the Delaney's and even the guy from Colorado. We need those guys off we need those guys off the debate stage, and here's the reason why. There's a little bit of sense there. We need the woke socialist lefties like Warren, where they're just trying to one-up each other because all these debates with these moderates is giving a little bit of hope to Democrats that, there's some people out there with some sensible plans. No, we just need the nutbags like Warren who pile on to these crazy programs and policy ideas to be talking about this for the next 6 months in debates, so that that basically the moderates would basically see this is what we have to work with, and we're just either not going to go vote or we'll hold our nose and vote for Trump again because these people are that crazy.
Yeah, the fake Indian is utterly shameless. We played the sound cut with her and Comrade Chris Matthews earlier in the day, and we'll play it again probably in the next hour. It's amazing. He hits her for a minute and a half just saying, our taxes going up, our taxes going up. The answer is obvious. Everybody knows. But she refuses to say it. Even crazy, creepy Uncle Bernie will admit that taxes are going up, but she won't. She keeps saying, it's how much it's going to cost you. You're going to get a better deal. We're from the government, and we're here to help you. I mean, how young are you when you learn that's one of the biggest lies you will ever hear? And there was Elizabeth Warren up on stage last night. We're here from the government, and we're here to help you. And she thinks she can put a shine on that sneaker. She can sell you that pig in a poke, as they say. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere.
Take on Trump's racism, his sexism, xenophobia, and come together in an unprecedented grassroots movement to not only defeat Trump, but to transform our economy and our government.
We can make America Venezuela. All you animals and all the zoos from sea to shining sea, forewarned is forearmed. Mary, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mary.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Good.
Okay. Can I just say a few things? This is my first time. I hope you don't get mad at me. Okay. If this is a really nice show so people can talk about anything.
It is a live show.
Okay. I have a question. Guys, we know this 2016 is cover-up. In 40 years, everything happened in 2016 will come out.
Cover up? What's being covered up, Mary? What's being covered up?
Okay. Donald Trump went to the White House with Putin. Putin put him there. Okay.
Putin?
It was obvious.
Putin?
Yeah.
Wait. Who is Putin? Who is Putin? What country is Putin from?
Russia.
Oh, you mean
guy, that little
Putin?
guy.
You mean Putin?
Yeah, Putin. Yeah, that little guy. Okay. They're very good friends.
Wait.
They
Where's
give
the
each other
proof?
candy.
What's the proof?
Listen, they give each other candy.
Wait a second, Mary. Didn't Mueller? I mean, he's the Democrat operative. Didn't he say that there was no evidence? Didn't Barack Obama say it would be impossible to steal an American election because it was so decentralized? I mean, wasn't Barack Obama and his stooges at the CIA and the FBI and the Justice Department, weren't they in charge when all this you're claiming happened? Why didn't they stop it?
Yes.
Why didn't they stop it?
Everything will come out in 40 years, and then people will find out in 40 years what happened in 2016. By then, those people are dead.
Wait a second. Mary, they've been investigating for 3 solid years, and they haven't turned up a scintilla of evidence.
Republican, no, there is no evidence. They're not going to tell you what's going on, the real things, what's going on behind the curtain. Don't be so naive, guys. They're not going to tell you the truth, because if they tell you the truth,
Wait a second. The Democrats were running the show. Why didn't they stop it, Mary? They've been running the investigation. The investigation, but that Mueller was leading. He's a nominal Republican, but he had 19 angry Democrats working for him, and they all gave money to Hillary Clinton. The DNC paid for the secret dossier, and everything turned out to be phony. Tell me some evidence that Putin stole the election.
Man, they're covering Donald Trump. Donald Trump can do whatever he wants. He does a lot of illegal things.
What does he do? Wait, what's he doing illegal?
I do not return my taxes.
Mary, what is he doing that's illegal?
You didn't see anything since 2016. Why he doesn't return his taxes? All the taxes.
What do you mean? Mary, I'm going to go. Does he? Is that a law that he has to show his taxes?
Why not? Every president did.
Well,
Reagan did.
It's not against the law, is it?
For you, if I don't do that, they go after me. They're going to ruin my life. But for Donald Trump,
wait. Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and they're trying to ruin his life. Is that okay? Is it okay to try to ruin Donald Trump's life, even though he hasn't done anything wrong? See ya. I'm Howie Carr.